This video will demonstrate how to use a Nurb's object to create a complex shape. I start with a Nurb's object, place this at a center point in the screen, then begin to select points on the surface of this object that I'd like to work with. For example, these three objects on one equatorial plane. At this point, I can now move these in any direction. I'm going to move them out, then move them closer together. At this point, I can add levels to this. For example, add a level here and a level here. This will give me more points to work with. So if I'd now like to lift these points up, I can move these independently. So I have now a more complex shape to work with. The next step is to look down on this object from the top, make sure that it fits how I'd like it to look in any particular dimension. And now I'd like to just work with the top half of this, so I'll make a cube. Look at this from the side. Drop the cube down halfway. And now I'll subtract that cube from this object. So now I have the top half of the object that I was working with. The next step will be to create a shell or a hollow inside. So I'll make a copy of this object, shrink that copy down, and then drop it down just so that it pokes out of the bottom. This will give me the opportunity to subtract that inner object from the outer object to create a shell. Next, I'd like to create a breathing part for this mask. So I'll look at this from the top, place this at the center of the object, look at it now from the side, lift this up until I can just see where it will touch the inside object. I like that general placement. And the next thing I'm going to do is create a copy of that cylinder. Decrease its size, increase its length. Now I have all of the parts that I will need to work with. The next step is to merge this outer tube with the outer mask. The next step is to subtract the inner object from the outer object. And finally, subtract this inner cylinder from this outer cylinder to give us an opening into this object. What we have now is something that looks like a face mask or a CPR mask. Final step would be to save as an STL or stereolithography file type and print it on a 3D printer. Now at this point we can also work with the dimensions of this mask to make it larger, smaller, higher, in any dimension. That ends this short video on using Nurb's objects to create complex shapes that mimic or simulate a CPR mask. Thank you very much for watching.